All right, guys, we're back in the shop. We're going to be doing the steering on the old S14. This is going to be a good one because after we get the steering done, then we can do a couple more tads and ends here. We got to put some extended studs on there, our spacers to clear the calipers, and then this car will officially be a roller. So I'm excited for that. So let's get right to it. Let me grab our steering rack here. And then we got this box of steering stuff. All right, so first things first, we got some energy bushings to go around our rack here. And then we got some Gktech extended M14 tie rods. We got the Gktech bump steer correction outer tie rods. We have the Gktech offset rack spacers. These are pretty sweet. So we're gonna start with getting the rack into the car. So let's get these out of the package here and then let's get that rack on there. Okay, bushings are on the rack. See how she fits. Nice. So that's that. Let's get our braces, our hold downs, whatever you want to call them. Get these bolts out. Okay, hold down number one. This part goes in the front. Nice. Hold down number two. Nice. Okay, let's get some bolts in there. All right, get your trusty Milwaukee out. The other ones. Torque to spec. Not really, but we'll go at it with a ratchet afterward. We'll get it torqued. All right, next we can put on our rack spacers, offset rack spacers. So basically what these do is they offset the tie rod pickup point that comes out of the rack here. And they are going to go forwards, I think it's 20 millimeters. And that helps your bump steer. All right, so we're gonna install these rack spacers. Before we install them, we're gonna throw some Loctite on these bolts here. Let's do that, and then I'll show you how to slap them bad boys in. All right, so we're gonna slap in our rack spacer here. We got some Loctite on there. This is gonna go, these notches line up with those notches. Like so. Slap your bolt in there. Be sweet. You can get your 1/2 inch, slap it right on there. So we're gonna tighten this down with a ratchet afterwards to make sure it's tight, but good way to get it in quick. All right, we're gonna install our other side here. I don't know if you can see. Get it in there. Tighten down. Get your trusty impact. next we can throw our inner tie rods on. These are extended, so we may or may not have to shorten these, but for now we'll just slap them in. All right, we're gonna throw a dab of Loctite on these as well. So we got our Loctite on there. So maybe you also noticed I'm not going to be running inner boots because these cars are known to eat them. So basically when you're drifting, the boot will get sucked in and then it'll ruin your rack. Same thing with the other side, a little bit of Loctite.
Seemed like a lot.
Yeah. Slap it right on there. Now we're gonna slap our outer tie rods on. It's beautiful. Outer tie rod kit right there from Gktech. All right, let's get these outers installed. So we are gonna have to cut the inners. So what I'm gonna do here, you need at least 15 millimeters of engagement, as it said per spec, on the spec sheet it came with. 15 millimeters on this and 15 millimeters on your inner tie rod here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna screw this bolt out a little bit over 15 millimeters. We're gonna do, say, 25, so that's about right there. I'm gonna measure that up and then I'll show you how to cut your inners afterwards. Also, we're gonna be leaving these long because we don't know how far we're going to extend our lowers out when we do get our fenders in to line up our fitment for the wheels to the fenders, and then you can worry about your alignment afterwards, and then we can cut more if we need to. And it also came with extended sleeves that go on your outers here. So just in case you do cut too much, just put your extended ones on. We're gonna start with the shortest ones first, and then that way, worst comes to worst, just put the medium ones on or put the long ones on. So like I was saying, this will be a rough cut for now until we figure out how far we're gonna extend our lowers. But basically what you wanna do, set your pretend wheel straight, right? Also, we wanna make sure our rack is centered. So basically you want the same amount here and the same amount here, but measured to the inside of that cup there. So how I center the rack, I just use this little pin here, slip it in, about there, hold your mark, go to this side, inside. Perfect. So our rack's centered. Now we can do our outers. All right. We're gonna line that up directly with our hole here. Okay. And we want 15 millimeters past this nut, and then let's give us another 10 millimeters, let's say. So we're gonna cut right there. And we'll put our nut there to mark our spot. Okay, and this will just be a rough cut, and then we always have longer sleeves if we extend the lowers out more and have to make adjustments later on. Those threads right. There you go. Chopped. Let's do the other side. up our threads a little again. Oh yeah. Very nice. Yeah, let's get our outers on there. Okay, we gotta go in more, but it's all right. It's gonna be turned. Oh yeah, it's gonna be something like that. Doesn't have to be perfect for now until we get the alignment. So.
Oh yeah, buddy. Is she golden?
Close.
There you go.
That'll do for now until we need alignment, and then we'll get everything all tightened up and see how many rack spacers we actually need when we figure out the ride height of the car. All right, so I did the same thing to the other side. Everything's just loosely in there for now. We don't know if we have to cut more or put the longer extenders on there, so we're gonna leave it as is, which is good. It's roughly straight, a little bit of toe in, a little bit of toe in, which is fine. That means we didn't cut too much, which is good. So next thing we want to do is make this car a roller and get it on the ground for the first time ever. So I bought these extended studs because we're gonna have to use some spacers to clear those big front brakes we put on there in the last video. So let's get our studs in. So to remove the old studs here, all I did was tapped on the front of the stud there, popped out the back. Then you can take your new stud here, slap it in. Okay, make sure, ooh, that is extended. That's nice. Make sure the splines line up, which it does. You can feel it if you rotate it. And then we're gonna pull it through by putting a nut on this and then tightening down the lug nut onto the nut, and it'll pull the stud out. I'll show you that right now. All right, like I said, so we got a couple spacers in there, a nut. We're gonna pull the new stud through. Hold this. All right, and voila. It's one stud in. 4 more to go on this side, and then we'll do the other 5 on that side. Show you a quick video of me tapping that out. Doesn't take too much. One side done. They're on, fully seated. You can feel it in the back. All right, let's do the other side. So we got our extended studs on. Now we got some 15mm Z1 spacers. Let's slap that on there. That looks nice. Slap that on. We're gonna slap this on the other side. All right. Very nice. Let's get our wheels on, get this car on the ground. All right, guys. Front wheels are on. Car is officially ready to be lowered to officially become a roller. So let's lower this puppy down. Here she is. She's on the ground for the first time. Let's just soak this in. Let's soak this in for a minute. This is good. This is a big turning point here. This is sweet. Crazy. Steering's in there. Obviously, we have a lot of adjustments to make in the front end here, but like I said, I want to wait until I get my fenders on. Once I get my fenders on, I'll figure out how far I want to bring out that bottom width of that lower control arm there. This is awesome. All right, we got some ISR power steering hoses that are going to go on our rack here. So those just go from there to there, there to there. So let me slap those on real quick. So the next piece to our puzzle is the steering shaft. So I got the steering shaft up in the car here, somewhere in this junk. But first, we want to free up our universal joint for the steering shaft. So it's pretty clunky. It doesn't, I don't know if you can tell, but it only goes so far and then it kind of stiffens up. So what I'm gonna do is put this in a container of ATF, let that sit overnight, and we'll see what happens. All right, so it's been a few days. Let's see what we got here. Okay, let's get all the fluid off of it here. All right, got it all wiped up. So I don't know if you guys can see, but that's much better. Free as can be now. So we are gonna stick this on our steering shaft and then we're gonna, well, stick it in. All right. Oh, there she is, guys. Got our U-joint in there, our steering shaft in there. We don't have this all the way down because we don't have our dash bar in yet. So there's our dash bar. But steering is connected. We could technically steer the vehicle if we needed to. We even had the brakes hooked up. Still got to put fluid in them and bleed them, but that's fine. We'll get there when we get there. But that's gonna do it for this video, guys. Steering is officially all hooked up. The car could turn if it needs to. So thanks for watching, guys, and stay tuned for the next one.